with the Melbourne Storm, a team that is tipped. And first of all, producer Jez, quality. I know you've been a very busy man, but this is another quality piece of work for yourself. By the way, guys, comments as we go, we'll show them on the screen and that when we do go. So the gains, Sean Bloor from the Tigers, obviously a late one. Really good signing, I believe. The losses, Tom Eisenhuth to the Dragons, Jaden Nikorima to Catlin, so the Super League, Justin Olam to the Tigers. He was that swap with Sean Bloor, and Tarek Sims to Catlins as well, Super League. I was actually really excited when he first signed with the Storm. I thought we were going to see him get to that same level that he was sort of with the Origin, but it's a bit of a shame. There's a heap. I'll let Jez take over when it comes to the re-signing off contract. He is a specialist when it comes to this side of things.
Yeah, big shout out to Zero Tackle as well for putting that together. So a local boy from up here, Grant Anderson, re-signed for 24, which is great because we love seeing local talent do well in the NRL. And I know it makes Adam super happy when Knights juniors aren't playing for the Knights and doing well. So good on you, Grant. He's a good bloke. Nelson Asafa Solomona for 2028. That's a big signing. Bronson Garlick, Dean. Is that an L? My eyes aren't working. Larima? Cool.
Tui.
Kamakalika to 25. Katoa to 27. Josh King to 25. Now, Josh King, I believe, won the challenge again this year. You know how they do a preseason challenge? He's always one that his fitness is just through the roof. So, again, training the house down. What a signing from the Knights, old Josh King. Nick Meaney to 24. Moroa to 24. Pezzett to 25, Will Warbrick to 26, and Wishart to 26. So some good ones at the back there up until 2026. Wow. A few off contracts, so a couple of 1-yearers. But I think Remus Smith, Nick Meaney, you're looking at those guys there to kind of re-sign to bolster those positions when people are out or injured. And I think just the main thing that everybody's thinking and wishing for is that Ryan Pappenhausen has a clean season. Rumoured to be back for round one. He's eyeing off the trials to test himself out. So that's huge for the Melbourne Storm.
Yeah. I agree. They've said that he'll play at least one of the preseason games, which is exciting stuff. And as you said, I'll echo those sentiments there, Jez. As a rugby league fan, like I'm obviously a Para fan, so I sort of started to hate the Storm. Obviously, there's been that hatred for a while, but I could not think of anything better to see a fully fit Ryan Pappenhausen tearing it up. So, Adam, thoughts on the gain and the losses for the Storm?
Yeah, there's not a lot happened, isn't there? Obviously, in the games, there's that player swap, as we mentioned, but probably had to move a few players on. Eisenhuth obviously gone the Dragons, and look, Nikorima and Sims, obviously their time was up in NRL, so they're off to the Super League, which is always exciting, especially when you get two in one team. But and Justin Olam, look, obviously the writing was on the wall there for him to be moved away from the Storm when they dropped him later in the year. But just looking at, obviously, some of those re-sign and off contracts, I think you're probably a little bit wrong there, Jeremy. I think Nick Meaney will be moved on at the end of this year. Well, they've put him on the 1-year thing. Yeah, obviously with Player Longo coming through and obviously Pappenhausen being number one there, it puts him third in line. So I think his time...
Third? He's just so consistent. He had such a good year. Like the last couple of years with Pappenhausen being out, he has just... I don't know. I think he's taking his game to the next level.
I agree, but he'll be the easiest one of them to move on. They're not going to let go of Pappenhausen. Not going to let go of Longo. Obviously, he's going to be an up-and-coming star, but I think his time will be up to go across the Super League and earn a good paycheck.
You don't think another NRL club?
No, God. Watch it. There's my bold prediction for the Melbourne Storm this year.
How old is he?
I think
you have to be 27.
Mid to late-ish 20s for sure.
Google will tell me.
Remus Smith, I'll let go of Remus Smith, I reckon, if it means keeping Nick Meaney. I reckon Nick Meaney's in for a big year at centre. I actually don't mind that move. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
I can see him actually staying on with the Storm for unders if it means staying in that system, because he's played his best footy there. He's had both experiences. Obviously, he's played at the Dogs for a while when they were being quite poor. Now he's at a successful club, and he's probably feeding off that. Not saying they're making him look better, but obviously with that quality of player, you do rise naturally as a player. So I think he's sort of got that Micka, before we get too much more
I genuinely
into,
think he held his own though, Joel. Like when he was
Yeah,
playing in
so do I.
that Storm side, when Pappenhausen was out, he did not look out of place, and he put on some really great plays, and he was quite solid in defence as well. So I think he has really thrived in that setup there.
If you think about it, they lost arguably one of the best fullbacks in the competition. He replaced him, and they still finished top 4. So he obviously has been doing quite a good job there. I'm sort of with you, Jez. I'll be surprised if the Storm don't try and get him at least. Like, it'd have to be one of those talks where it's, will you stay for unders, I think, just because of the quality of play that they got there. But we'll see. Micka, let's get you in. I think I also read some comments there saying, it looks like you're nursing a hangover, but he's probably...
Thank you for that pronunciation in the comments. Please keep them coming because I will learn.
Yeah.
Eremia.
Shane there in the Facebook comments, but he's probably coming late. He probably doesn't realize you've actually been on a drum session for about 15 hours and sweated 18 liters. There's no hangover. It's just a natural exhaustion, and you still
You can't be hungover when you're still drinking, can you?
No, that's right.
Let us know.
Yeah, like as Adam said, there's not a lot going on this board, which is odd. But I mean, Melbourne just have that whole thing where they get their team set and not make many changes, and they still turn up every year. So, I mean, Olam, we all expect that, as you said. There's not really much to talk about, is there?
No, there's not. It's I kind of, in a way, I'll include Pappenhausen as a game because he was out last year, and it's sort of like it's very exciting. Like, if he could stay fit, he will make a huge difference to this Melbourne Storm outfit.
Massive. And I guess if we forget,
if he stays fit, the pass mark for the Melbourne Storm is grand final. Like, honestly, if he stays fit and their whole team stays fit, that is their pass mark. Is making it to the big dance.
Look at the spine.
Top 4.
That is
exactly
arguably the best spine in the competition when all fully fit.
I disagree, but I'm going to wait till we get to the concerns for that one.
Yeah,
we'll go to concerns now. Go.
Jerome Hughes. I personally, and I've said this for quite a while, I've shared this opinion, I don't think he is a halfback, and I don't think he has been a halfback. I think it was just a blanket when Cameron Smith was there. Melbourne last year seemed to lack a lot with Harry Grant playing 80 minutes, as though Harry Grant actually carved Parramatta up a couple of times and also carved up in Origin, but he wasn't playing 80 minutes in Origin. Letting go of Brendan Smith, I feel like Melbourne lost a bit in that regard, and they exposed Hughes quite a bit and put a lot of pressure on Cameron Munster. My biggest concern for them, which has been my concern for other teams, is finding the balance in their team. Look, Pappenhausen says he's good to go for the trials in round 1. One thing you got to love about Pappenhausen is his ability to interact with the fans online. He loves doing it. And he's received a lot of messages about Supercoach, which he's responded to. But you can put him on. I hope you can't, but you can put him into a concern as well, because Melbourne have a hard decision to make. If Pappenhausen struggles with any kind of injury and they bring in Failongo, he absolutely kills it at fullback. Look, I don't know if he's going to be starting it, maybe in the centres, but obviously we saw the impact he had last year. And then he excels there. What do they do with Pappenhausen? Because they can't play him in the middle. We saw how that went last year. He's wasted on the bench and takes up a bench spot. So I just think Melbourne are going to have some real balance issues. I guess I'll go to a positive of that. And the positive is obviously the coach they've got will be one of the best, obviously, getting the best out of his team. So that's on him to actually do that.
Yeah.
They're all very valid points.
They are very valid. The counter to it is it's not a bad replacement if they do lose Pappenhausen this year, because Failongo is ready to step up. And I think we've all seen now he is a freak, and I cannot wait to see him get some proper minutes at the NRL level. Like, don't get me wrong, I really want to, and I said this, I touched on this last week, I do want to see Pappenhausen fully fit, but there's also a part of me that really wants to see Failongo absolutely brain it. And special shout out to your brother. We have been communicating a bit on the page. He has been seeing some of the posts that I put up of him. He's laughing his head off at it. So I just think it's such a dangerous team. Like, when you do talk about concerns, there's not much there for me when I look at it. I can't see much. Like, the only thing I can look at is maybe their centers. Like, if their centers starting the season is Remus Smith and Nick Meaney, just because Nick Meaney is unproven at centre. We're not too sure what we'll get there. I have no doubt he'll probably do well. But if I have to say a concern now, it is that sort of edge defence, targeting those centres who I think have made some of the incorrect decisions in the past with their defence, and Nick Meaney now having to make those decisions might be something that he's not used to, so we're not too sure where it's at. But apart from that, boys, that's all I got when it comes to a concern for the Storm.
Yep. You could probably add a little bit of inexperience on the edge as well, but that will come with time. I thoroughly love Grant Anderson and everything that he does, but he is still very young to NRL level, though he didn't really get caught out that much. But again, if you've got those inexperienced centers inside you, it's going to make you double guess your defensive reads as well. So that compress of that middle to just then go around or expose those edges could be a concern for the Melbourne Storm.
I know we're a fair bit away from team list Tuesday, but obviously the predicted team comes up, and as you kind of mentioned, they've got Nick Meaney and Remy Smith there in the centres. Another concern they've got is they've got both Bronson Garlick and Longo on the bench. So only leaves two big men on the bench if this is the team they go with. And, you know, with an aging player like Nelson Sofa-Solomona, who's obviously getting on a bit, I know he's not that old. You know, I'm not his biggest fan, so I'm not going to go there this year too early. And Christian Welsh, who's been around a while, a few injuries. You probably need a bit more on the bench in regards to size, especially with, I won't say they're inexperienced second rowers, but they're certainly not big name second rowers either that they've got there at the moment. You know, we know, obviously, Melbourne let go of most of their forward pack last year to go to the Dolphins. They lost so many to the Dolphins in, you know, both Bromwich brothers, and obviously, I'm going to forget his name again. What's old mate that hits everyone late? Felice Kafusi. Like, you know, they lost so many players to the Dolphins, but they're in that rebuilding forward, and they've been kind of lucky their backline's been so strong for a while. But like I said, I just find that they're not, I know you're saying it, they're not as strong as I thought they would be this year. We say that about Melbourne every year. We wait for Melbourne to fall, and they never do.
I thought.
Sorry,
I enjoyed that the comments went over Adam's face then. That was brilliant.
I was about to apologise for that. I didn't realise it did that. That's an upgraded version of StreamYard. So I will keep popping them up, but don't take offence, Adam. I didn't realise that happened. Micka?
Yeah, I thought last year after they lost pretty much the majority of their forward pack at the time, I thought we were going to finally see the year when Melbourne had a dive, and it just never happened really. There was a few games where they were flat, but I mean, they're just always consistently there, and it does my head in. You know, I thought, you know, they lost Cameron Smith and then lose all their forward pack. They're going to have one of those years where they sort of finish in the bottom of the 8 for once. Like, but I don't know. They just keep pulling out the numbers when they need to, I suppose.
There is there's a question there about the forwards, and we're sort of touching on that as we go now. But one thing with Sean Bloor as well, obviously Pritchard and their big signing, their only signing for this year. One thing I think everyone knows that Sean Bloor, when fit, is a phenomenal talent. He has a really, really bright future. My only concern so far with his career, it's been so stop and start once again with injuries. And he could be the best up and coming forward we've seen in a long time. But unless he can get his body right, that's not going to mean anything for the Melbourne Storm. Like on paper, awesome signing that they can get him in the back row. Maybe Liero can go and switch to a middle forward, which I've heard has been a rumor doing the rounds. Him moving into the lock position and King going into that prop rotation. But like with some of these players, like I'm talking Sean Bloor, you're just going to make sure they get their body right for a week in, week out NRL career. And that's what he's sort of lacking at the moment, which is my only concern sort of when it comes to that signing. The forward pack, do I think is a top 4 forward pack, which is a question from shout out to Andrew Backhouse, back with us this week after missing last week. And he was one of the beggars saying, please put it live. So I know you and Adam have a thing to sort of have a bit of a get square coming up. So we'll have to find a time. We've got a few catch-ups coming up this year, which we will let people know about.
It's whenever it's kids on the field. Whenever it's kids on the field at Parramatta, me and Andrew will be on there, and it's going to be
on. What about the positives, guys? I think we've pretty much wrapped the positive up with saying when you actually look at it, it's quite a good, strong squad, especially the spine. The spine is, if it's fully fit, arguably the best spine in the competition. So all the top 3 at least I can guarantee that. Any other positives for the Storm?
I think it's just the excitement around seeing Pappenhausen run around again.
Yeah,
and the coach.
The coach.
Oh,
Could be his last year.
It's rumored to be his
Could
last
be.
year, so they need any motivation for the year to go into it. And I don't think it will be his last year in the NRL. It won't even be his last year at Melbourne, but surely there's a way they're going to get up for that, final thing of Craig Bellamy at Melbourne.
Oh, I've got to show this one. There's some fighting words happening. It told you this tonight's episode. I just feel like it's going to erupt, and we haven't even got to the juicy teams yet.
Andrew, I'm going to address this really quickly. Andrew, don't act all tough. You're in my DMs more than you are a girl from Maps, all right? So just chill. It'll happen, and you'll regret it. That's all.
Just one last point I want to make, but I'll quickly put this question up. Is Big Nas going to be an edge forward? So I think he'll come off the bench. He'll be that sort of bench forward role because he can fill in either middle or back row. I think it'll just depend on how the match is flowing. It's hard to say now. I think ideally you'd probably put him in up front. I don't know if the edge is awesome when it comes to theory, but I don't think he has the kilometers in his legs to be I'm a bit cautious about putting him on the edge. So Adam is his biggest fan, but I don't know if we go to him for his comment on Nas. We keep him caged. Lastly, on the Storm, before we give our our predicted finish, I'm really excited to see if Fa'alongo is the number 14, how they use him, and how long they use him. I think early on we could probably see him ease Pappenhausen back. So expect look out. He's getting his shirt off. We've got to keep it PG here.
It's not even 9 o'clock yet.
Oh, hang on. He's getting his. I don't even want to.
He's just showing off his half-broken shoulders to Andrew.
Sorry, guys.
So, I remember we have a massive podcast viewing as well. So for the podcast listeners, he's literally taken his League of Inches shirt off. As I'm talking, it's put me off my point. It was going to be a really good point as well. And he's chucked on an old looking, I think Maitland it's Panthers. Pickers. Actually, might not be Penrith. It's Maitland, but it looks like
Maitland pumpkin pickers.
Look, I was trying to be impartial this podcast, but I pulled the League of Inches shirt out for the first time since last year. And I'm actually allergic to dust, and it's got to me nose, so I've had to take it off because I can't stop sneezing.
All right, look. Let's move on. Before we move on, let's get our ratings. Rate them. So I'll go first. I'll go him in the 1st to 4th. I just think that squad will get top 4, especially the Craig Bellamy effect.
That's your placing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't done the ranking for the actual. Yeah. Sorry, we haven't done the ranking for the
Let's
games.
do the place, and then we'll rank them.
All right.
Yeah, I've got top 4. 1 to 4. That's where I believe they will finish. And if they don't, then it's a failure of a season.
Yeah. Micka.
Yeah, I'd have him top 4.
Don't be too excited by that. Adam,
I'm not. I hate them, but they're going to be there.
I've got them 5 to 8 for reasons stated earlier. I'm going to quickly give you my rating as well because I'm going to duck off for 2 seconds and grab a tissue. And my nose,
he's allergic.
Oh, it's bad. My nose is running shockingly. But look, my rating for their recruitment based on their re-signings, and I know Melbourne have obviously got to be careful because they do have a salary cap now, and I'll give them a 6 just because the players they let go of obviously were time to go. Be right back.
Yeah, Micka, work up now. Give us your rating for their obviously the gains, losses, and as you'll remember now, it's the re-signing and off-contract list as well.
Because there's a mirror. There was a mirror behind him, so thank goodness he had pants on. For the viewers at home, oh my god.
Yeah, I'll go about a 6 as well. Like I know that board probably doesn't show it, but whatever you got that spine, they got locked up and re-signed. It's probably pretty good roster management, isn't it?
Yeah, Jez.
Yeah, I've got a 7. Purely on the re-signings, and when a club doesn't have to do many ins and outs, they're on the right path. That's the sign of a good club, and that's just the sign of the Melbourne Storm. So they're doing things right down there. It's a 7.
Yeah, I'll go 6.5. Just sort of, it's one of those mess sort of ones.